wow, wow. You're welcome once again to the Balancing Show. And on today's edition, we have the relationship insights and knowledge sharing with the Queen. And I have another Queen with me in the house today. I have Ofonime Basi. And it's amazing, how this all came about. We're almost shelving today's show, but I believe there is a need for it, and that's why we are having it against all odds. Thank you so much, Ofonime, for choosing to do this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do not take it for granted at all. You know,
Thank you.
yes. I was looking at the topic that we have before us today. We are looking at leveraging setbacks and the parenting advantage. That's what we are looking at. But before we do that, I'll need to do a short introduction of you because it's important that our audience know who the queen that's in the house with another queen today is. So please, let me quickly read your bio. And it goes like this. Mrs. Ofonime Basi is a certified practitioner of the family systems engineering, parent and teens coach, author of Beyond Childbirth. Before we end today's show, you're going to tell us where we can get this amazing, amazing book. Marriage counselor and a certified mediator. She is passionate about helping parents resolve conflicts whilst maintaining a beautiful relationship with their children, especially teenagers, without becoming their enemies and vice versa. She works with and prepares singles for a blissful marriage and helps married couples develop strategies to maintain a loving, peaceful, and intimate relationship. She is a regular guest to the radio and television shows where she shares insights on issues relating to marriage, parenting, family life. She has also delivered talks on several occasions, online and offline platforms, including churches and schools. She mentors a group of singles and married people via the New Tribe Family platform. She also impacts lives through her weekly Wednesday diet via her social media handles, where she shares from her wealth of knowledge on issues relating to parenting and marriage. She is married to her best friend, Basi Echo, and they are blessed with two children. What an honor to have you on the show today. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Thank you
Thank
so much, sis. I'm excited to be here as well.
I
And well done
know.
for the amazing job that you are doing. Thank you so
Thank you
much, man.
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. So today we are looking at leveraging setbacks and parenting advantage. I'm going to give you the floor to just pour into us as much as possible. But before you do that, I'll just say something, little. I happen to be a mother of three, a young adult, a teenager, and a preteen. So I absolutely understand what we are talking about today. I know how it can be when you don't know and you're trying to raise these children. If care is not taken, you will lose them. And how it can be when you now have knowledge and you are now dealing with them from a place of understanding. It's amazing. It's a total, a different ball game entirely. So I yield the floor to you, Fonime. So when we talk about leveraging setbacks and parenting advantage, what do we mean by that?
All right. Thank you so much, sis. And well done. Oh, well, thank you so much, Queen Ayo. And once again, well done. I look at you and I'm like, I'm amazed. I just know that I'm one person that, really appreciates what you're doing and you motivate a lot of us. So well done, well done, well done. All right. So one of the things I've realized in life is that people sometimes feel that setbacks are things that work against them. So We now look at it. So you've had a lot of people praying for situations that is supposed to bring out the gold in them, people praying or wishing it away. And the funny thing about setbacks is that everyone will go through it at one point or the other. It's not about will it ever happen? I'm not sure it's going to happen. It's definitely a question of when will it happen and how am I going to respond to it. I talk about setbacks because sometimes, as we were raised, if we do not have a better orientation of what setbacks are, there's a possibility that that may be one of the things that will limit you from excelling or going far in life. So
Indeed.
before we go ahead, I just want to take time. What are setbacks? A setback is an unanticipated. I don't really want to look at that word unanticipated, but I just want to get some definitions and then I'll break down. It's an unanticipated or sudden check in progress. Maybe you're making progress, you're going along the way, and then something just happens that halts you, that makes you come to that point of a pause. It is sometimes it can be for good and sometimes it can be for bad. But what happens when it gets from better to worse is your perception. It's your how do you view it? How do you see it? You look at it as if it is something that village people are sending missiles somewhere to attack you or not, or do you know like what is actually in it for me? All right. Another definition of setback is that it's an event that actually delays your progress. So mark the word delay. It's not as if it's stopping your progress. It may actually delay your progress, or it can also reverse some of the progress that you have made. And why am I saying all of this? I am putting the positive and the negative because if it were to be that easy, people will not just surmount setbacks and go ahead. But there are three important things that will help you have a better understanding of what setbacks are. And what are these three things? Number one, expectations. Sometimes we go through life and we feel that from our point A to our point Z is going to be a smooth ride. We forget that it is the bumps, the speed bumps, the hurdles in between that actually make us what's the word? Make people look up to us or that endear people to us. It's our challenges that actually encourage people and say, oh, if Ofonime could go through this, I can go through this. If Queen Ayo could go through this, I can go through this. So I'm going to give you a typical example now. Let's assume that King Charles that we have right now, that is the King Charles that just ascended the throne after the passing of his mother, had a very smooth childhood. Nothing happened. Everything seemed rosy. And then he just came up. And then someone now comes and tells you, wow, Prince Charles is an amazing adult. In fact, whenever I look at him, I just admire him. Now, keep that story on one end. Now, let's have a story let me say King Charles, when he was a child, had speech delay, could not speak, at an early age. And then aside from that, maybe he had a particular disease or he had a particular ailment, let's say chicken pox or measles that almost took his life. So they now had to battle to curb the speech delay, maybe therapies. I'm sure maybe they got lots of professionals to help him go through that speech, delay. And then while at that, they also got him the best Medicare to help him from a seemingly deadly disease as at that time. And then after that, let's assume that he had an accident that left him crippled at some point. So just picture those three scenarios. And then while the speech therapy was going on, Prince Charles one day now broke free King Charles now broke free one day and now started speaking. And then to the amazement of everyone, he could not stop. He wouldn't stop talking because he had wanted to talk so much. And it was more like whatever he was saying did not sound like a child of his age at that time. He was, spewing forth wisdom wherever he was bold, because for him it was exciting that, hey, I want to speak. I've not been able to speak for a while. And then, so King Charles overcame that while he was a young person. Please, I'm just giving you like an illustration. It didn't happen. And then let's say also in the course of his life, he went through, a lot of people died through that measles, outbreak or chickenpox outbreak. King Charles actually overcame it. And then he actually had an accident, and people told him not that he would not be able to walk again. But with the persistence of his mother and then his father, they got him the best care. And one day, while he was maybe frustrated, wondering what life was, that how he's going to end his life, maybe he fell. And then he now made up his mind that he's tired of the wheelchair and then started walking. And then because of that, he's now an advocate for people that maybe have that could not walk or something like that. So there are two stories I've painted now. If someone shares those two stories, which one are you most likely to get motivated or encouraged? Which one would more likely, spur up something in you? I believe it's the second story. That is
Absolutely.
what we cease to see. That our lives, it is the stories, it is those setbacks, it's those things that look difficult that actually differentiates us from the next person and our ability to thrive. So one of the
Indeed.
things we must, as all human beings must learn, is manage our expectations. It's known as
Expectations.
expectations management. You can't expect to come through life and expect everyone to smile at you, everyone to be happy with you, everyone to love you, everything to get easy. You will not go through challenges. If you live that kind of life, you will not make so much impact.
Indeed.
Another factor that helps us with setback is what are your perception of this setback? So I've talked about unmet expectation or expectations management, where you cannot manage your expectation. Now the next point now is, what is your perception of setbacks? Are you looking at it as things that are working for you or things that are working against you? The moment you begin to look at it as things that are working for you, your perception towards life, your outlook, the way you look at life is going to be different. So I used to feel that at some point in my life, oh, life is very cruel with me. I don't know what ever happened. I was that person that would always complain that maybe if I am in a group and people are making progress, I knew I was very intelligent, but I would always want to tell people that, hey, even though I am making this, have gone through a lot, but not in an empowering way. It was more like people trying to pity me. Hey, yeah, often oh my God, is that what you went through? Until I met my husband. And whenever I'm complaining or whenever I'm sharing something, he would just say, Amy, everything you are doing, the things, if I look at your life, those, if you did not go through those setbacks, the understanding you have about life now, the perception, the areas in which you're shining, you will not have gone that far. So ditch the bitterness, ditch the complaints, and just embrace it. So he made me understand that anything that happens, I should not ask, God, what is in this for me to learn? Or what am I supposed to pick from here? What kind of skill am I supposed to pick from here? So in our house, there's this funny thing we do after every challenging situation. Madam will just sit down and say, lessons learned. So lessons learned, and I didn't like that because it will make me I was like, what kind of lesson can come out maybe out of a death of a loved one? What kind of the lesson can come out maybe from the loss of my investment? What kind of lesson? So I didn't like that, but I think my life became better the moment I understood that my perception of those setbacks is what will help me either surmount it or would either make those challenges floor me and keep me down forever. Point number 3, also, that things that you should consider now: what are the skill sets that you have learned, or the skill set or the knowledge set that you have to tackle those setbacks when they happen to you? So it's okay for you to now say, oh, expectations management. Okay, I've managed my expectations. Okay, I have a good perception. But if you have a good perception, but you do not know the wherewithal to move from that setback or from one point to the other, you will almost be flawed. So that is where experiences from other people, that is where mentoring, that is where, getting yourself a community or a support system help. That is when investing, actually learning, know how to move through as in transformational impact is necessary. Not just even getting the knowledge and you don't even know how to implement. So take, for instance, you sign up for a course right now. And then you see good graphics in the course, you see there's a lot of teaching, and there is no implementation plan. What will happen afterwards? You're like, wow, that was such a great teaching. Now, 4 months or 3 months down the line, you have forgotten, just like one other course that you took. Compare that to a transformational program that where a lot of things are not really, you're not really learning, reading, taking notes. There are pointers, there are activities to help you build skills, also help you build consistency. You are going to be better. So setbacks, what skill set do you have? What kind of do you have? Are you resilient over the time? Have you built emotional? Are you emotionally intelligent? Have you learned negotiation skills? Have you learned what relationship skill? What are your skill sets? What do you have in your armory or in your arsenal? These are things that will help you navigate. These are the three key things that will help you navigate setbacks. So if these three things are not there, it's most likely that you're going to think that life has been unfair to you. You're going to feel that, oh, life is cruel, and you may not harness the gems in the setbacks or the things that you are going through. So now, setbacks also, it varies. I cannot say that my setbacks are the same as yours. Setbacks could be, like I said, these are things that are unique to you, but your ability to thrive through it. It could be the loss of a loved one. It could be, you being raised in a dysfunctional home. It could be going through a traumatic experiences. Example, let's say depression. Let's say your parents went through a divorce, or maybe you're also going through a divorce. Maybe breakups, even relocation from loved ones. It could also be loss of your home or your job, or maybe their parents lost their job or their homes, or there is a mental illness. There are it differs from people to person. But like I said, what expectations you have out of life, how do you perceive those expectations, and what have you garnered, what have you learned, what have you gleaned from other people? These are the things that will help you navigate through the situation of setbacks. And why this is important to me is this: most times as parents, or maybe in people in my space, you realize that people always say, our parents, if they knew better, let us not behave like our parents, let's not do this, let's not do that, let's not, our parents did this to us, our parents used to talk, using sarcasm, sarcasm and all. Sometimes we are bent on just blaming our parents, but we have not considered, did our parents know better? What was their level of exposure? If they understood or knew these things better, would they even have done it to us? And then some of us, sometimes we know that maybe they have not gotten to that knowledge. You are still holding on. In as much as they have not told me they are sorry, I cannot release them in my heart. And you're hurting. Now, funnily enough, if you do not deal with that, if you cannot come to the point of, hey, they did the best, I'm going to do better, I'm not going to hold grudges, you are most likely going to fall into the same shoe, or even worse. And you would not also have the ability to forgive yourself. Remember, you dreaded what they did, but you have not equipped yourself with the knowledge or the skill set to help you become better. So there's a tendency that whatever you saw is going to replicate itself if there is no intervention. So one of the things like I said, I try to help parents look at the setbacks that you had, or that those of your children, or sorry, of your friends or people around you. What can you glean from them? How can you now put a stop to a pattern that is not helpful or that is not empowering to you or to people around them, and then start working on it? That way you are proactive. That way you are changing you're changing the narrative, rather than sulking in bitterness, rather than getting upset or hating on people, or writing posts from a point where you have not healed, or making posts or comments or sharing things from a point of trauma, or from a point where you have not healed. I'll take a pause. Do you want to ask any question, or I still should continue
No,
talking?
thank you so much, Ofonime, because you mentioned three important things that we need to look at when we are experiencing what we can call setback. But one thing, Ofonime, that I've come to realize is all things work together for good. All
Yeah,
things. I've come to realize that.
yeah,
The good, the bad, the ugly. And that is why it is important our perception, number two, is right.
yes,
Our perception concerning that particular incident, concerning that particular thing you went through, it's
yeah,
very key. There
true.
is something that we do in our profession. We call it perceptual code, giving ourselves, our children, at their perceptual code.
Yeah,
So, how are we seeing a particular thing? How are we seeing a particular person? How are we seeing a particular situation? It's very important. You mentioned expectation management. We are human, for crying out loud. We've
yeah,
got flaws, loads of flaws.
Yeah.
Some of us, our personality impacts the way we see ourselves. I
Yeah.
happen to be one of those personalities that are perfectionist, in nature. We have
Same
that
here.
tendency of everything must be like
Must be.
this. So
Yeah.
if we have those setbacks or those things that we feel shouldn't have happened with us or through us, we beat ourselves blue black and we find it very difficult to move on from there. I'm actually about releasing my book,
Okay.
and in there, I shared a few of my setbacks, which has propelled me, to where I'm at today. I'm grateful for the understanding I have now to be able to manage the setbacks, to be able to, bring the best out of the whole situation. So, setbacks, we need to be able to manage our expectations, we need to be able to manage our perception of those setbacks, and also have the right skills to be able to navigate the various seasons wherein the setback show up. So
Yeah.
yes, I'll give the mic back to you so that you can shoot on. Yes.
All right. All right. So I just put it in like my talk in like three phases. So this is second phase, and then finally I will now talk about how you can use the setbacks to your parenting advantage. All right. So now one of the things, just like you said, how can you get out from like how fine we have heard your perception, fine we have heard your expectations, we've also heard the skill set, but how do you actually apply it if you have setbacks? What are the things that you should do? Now, point number one for me is that when you go through these setbacks, allow yourself, like I said, just allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you're going through. Allow yourself to, like, hey, this has happened. This has happened. And rather than living in denial, so sometimes people are going through setbacks and they are like using Christianese words. For those of us in the Christian, they were like, how are you? And I'm like, it's fine, oh, it's okay, it is well. I used to do that a lot. So like I said, we grew up with the home that I grew up in. It was more like when things happen, we just believe that those things should just, those things will just get away. So I didn't really learn conflict resolution skills growing up because it was more like, that kind of, your father, the daddy says something and everyone is, at attention to listen. If you cough, why are you coughing? Are you trying, that kind of, stuff. So most of the time, we just let things just slide under the carpet, just push things there, and then we would just move on. But here was I got married to a man that when things happen and I'm going to sleep, he will wait for me. He will come to the room. So something happened today and we've not talked about it and you're sleeping. Why are you? I'm like, is there anything wrong? No, nothing is wrong. Everything is fine. Everything is this. And he would tell me, what do you mean by everything is fine? So he realized that I couldn't confront issues. Like I would prefer to maybe either take it all in, sulk, but eventually there'll be an outburst somewhere. So I didn't learn how to resolve conflict. I would wish it away. Sometimes I'll live in denial that that thing is happening. And that is what some people do with setbacks. Now, like I said, remember, setbacks can happen for good and it can even happen for bad. Setbacks can happen like it's unanticipated. Sometimes it's for no fault of yours. So take, for instance, a case where someone is raped. What people normally ask is, where were you? What were you wearing? What this, what that? But experience has told me that sometimes, even these rape cases, or most of the time, comes from trusted people, not from strangers in quotes. It may not even, it doesn't matter what you're wearing, it does not matter where you were at, these things just happen, and sometimes it's no fault of yours. So you realize that some people just believe in denial if such an incident happens. No, it cannot happen. In fact, sometimes they keep quiet and they do not talk about it, and that is going to prolong your pain, prolong the hurt, or that's going to make you stay on that speed bump for so long. So what do you do? Know that it has happened. Feel it. What are the emotions? And sometimes this is where journaling helps. I have learned to journal and it has helped me. If I even realized that I started doing it before I knew it, because I realized that even when I was in school, I would write a lot, put it, store it away in jotters, store it away in notebooks, and sometimes I'll just pick it up and read how I felt. Sometimes people, when I even pick it up and I read, I now remember, oh, how did I even go through this? But the bottom line is that I try to feel it. I try to understand what was happening. It is when you now acknowledge it that you would actually know how to seek for help or seek for guardian or speak to someone that can help you. So when you are going through setback, allow yourself go through it. Avoidance is not healthy. Acknowledge what you're going through. If it is there is a breakdown, know where to talk to. Like remember, I talked about skill sets. So you must have at least, okay, no, maybe you would have learned certain things. Oh, if so and so happens, what should I do? At that point, don't live in denial. Allow yourself go through it and then speak to the right person and get help from the right person. I talked about journaling. Journaling helps enough. And then two, when you now allow yourself to feel it, pause and reflect on the situation. Not because you want to reflect on it to self-blame, no. Just because you want to pick, like I said, my mother always say lessons learned, lessons learned. What could have been avoided? What would you have done better? What could have? So pick, reflect, pause. If you cannot do this, maybe a professional will help you. This is where your perception management comes in as well. So this thing that has happened, how am I supposed to get out of this? If it is in a state, some people, let's say let's say there's something like like a pregnancy, unplanned pregnancy, you begin to curse out on someone, begin to hate the perpetrator, even hate the unborn child, hates a lot of, hate someone that you have that has not done anything to you. But by the time you sit down to pause and reflect, it's a tough situation, but it will help you gain better perspective. And like me, maybe you would now begin to say, what is it that I have to learn from this? Why did I have to go through this? Not because you're blaming yourself, but from a point of, hey, maybe there is a reason why this has come through me, has happened to me, to help other people, or to even test me or something like that. It may be difficult, but pause and reflect. In the process of pausing and reflecting, you will definitely get clarity. You get clarity. It may not happen at once, but it will happen over time. So clarity will come after a while. You would know how to navigate that situation. If it is a situation where you need support, you would also most likely get the right support system into around you that would help you go through that setback without losing yourself in the process. Pick the lessons from it. Pick the lessons and then have a positive mindset and move from there. So from all of that, from all those 5 points, you'll be able to now look out, okay, for the learning opportunities. You'll be able to also weigh the available options. What next? Can I do from here? How can I get to the next level? Or let's say we put it this way, you'll be able to look at it just like what we say in FSC. If you take yourself maybe 10,000 feet away from that and look at that situation, would you see it? Is it as magnified as you have soaked yourself in? Or let's assume that someone came to you with that similar problem and you were to advise. What would you tell that person? How would you help that person go through that process? So when you do all that I've listed, you would be able to see it from a better, perspective. So always note, like I said, that everything that happens around you or that comes your way is working for you and not against you. It's working for you and not against you. Now, those are certain ways of navigating setbacks. I know that it depends on the complexity of the setback or the whatever challenge you're going through. It may be more, it may be less, but working with a professional will also help you navigate through this part. And I just want to go now to the final part of what
I'm sorry,
I
Ofanime. Before you
okay.
go to the final part, you said
Okay.
something very important that I just want to reiterate. You said
Okay.
when we are going through things, we should always remember that it is working for us.
Yes.
We hear a lot of people say, oh, life happened to me. No, it happened for you,
For you. Yeah.
for you, for
Yeah.
you, for
Yeah.
you. And that's why it's important. How are you perceiving whatever you're going through?
Yeah.
I've said this at the beginning, but I'm having to pause here again because I know a lot of people are stuck in that space. When anything
Yeah.
happens to them, it's the negative part of that thing that they focus on.
Goes on. Yeah.
and they begin to drown, to drown, to drown. And the good in that thing, they are unable to leverage on it. So I
Yeah.
just thought I should, reiterate that. And all these things, has to do with our mindset. It
Yeah.
has to do with the things that we believe. What do we believe?
Yeah.
What are the things we have been told about situations and circumstances that we have held over time, and the truth is they are not true at the end of the day. You've just
True.
held onto them. But when you choose to turn that situation, that setback, that circumstance that would have drowned you, you've chosen to turn it around to work for your good. You find out that, wow, I'm grateful it did happen, because
Yeah.
of it, quite a number
I
of
wouldn't
people
have.
are blessed,
Exactly.
others are blessed, and humanity as a whole is benefiting from it. So yes, Ofonime, shoot on.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. True. So I like that you brought my attention to that, because I remember as a child there were certain situations I knew they were not my fault. I didn't have a say. So just like we just found ourselves on this earth, right? We were not there when our parents, made out and had us. You just found yourself here. But I know that there were certain questions that were thrown at me growing up that traumatized me as a child. They would not go ask my parents about those things. They would come, to ask you. And then you now find yourself in gatherings, sometimes like for me when I grew up, let's say in religious gatherings, and they would make it look as if those setbacks that happened, there is something wrong with you. So I love, how you brought my attention to that, that sometimes it's our perception when we go through, we feel that the people that God loves, the people that are doing the right thing do not sin. They are undented, they are clean, they are, in fact, that if you even make a mistake, God cannot use a damaged good, God cannot, God. So as a child, it confuses you. And I normally ask a question. I say, so what of a child that was raped? So without knowing at a tender age, does not understand, and then you are now coming to share things like, if you're not a virgin or you are not a chaste, God cannot use you mightily. God cannot use you. I have had teenagers ask me those questions, or I've had teenagers shy away from certain things we do. And when you talk to them, they said, because God does not want it, because this particular gathering is not for people like us. And so that's what I'm saying. I now all the things I went through now, he's now playing back, because I can now speak to them from an empowered point of view and say, hey, no, snap off that. It's no fault of yours. Because they would now feel that because of the things they've gone through, that maybe there is something that they did, maybe they are suffering a cause, or maybe they feel that there is something going on with them. And the moment you can help them understand that, you see the light in their eyes, you see them glow, you see them begin to have self-confidence, you see those things that seemingly looked as if they were shameful experiences, you see them turn that to things, and they have done well. So like I said, those are certain things that, what is our perception? What are people around us teaching? Oh, God is not a God of a second chance. God is not, even if he uses it to not be at that level, there are certain things that has kept us in the dark. So your ability, your perception to know that, like I said, look around you, great men in the Bible. Even our master, did he really have things perfect? Imagine Jesus coming and they're telling you, man, when you were about to be born, there was no place. We had to go to a place that they keep pigs and and give birth to you. They had to, I don't know, like sharing that story over and over. But that happened so that if you feel that, hey, I'm a nobody, look, there is someone that came in like a nobody, but at the end of the day, he has been elevated far above everyone, or because he has given us a test to what rulership or kingship is. So I just wanted to reiterate what you've said, that is the things that happen to us do not it is not against us. So anyone that tries to bring those debts or tries to make you believe that there's something wrong with you, you need to do special cleansing, you need to do certain days, or you feel you're not good enough, you may need to change your circle, get to an empowering circle or a support system that will help you appreciate the setbacks in your life and use it in your best interest. Now, let me now say, okay, so how can you now use what are the things that you need to know as a parent about, setbacks, and how can you leverage it? Point number one, you said something that you have three children, an adult, a teenager, and then a preteen. One of the things that one of our greatest undoing is our lack of knowledge on things that have to do with parenting. We just feel that it's internet, like, oh, it's internet, like, oh, whatever. When I grew up, my intuition, my intentions are right, so it's going to work well. If you want to leverage that, what's your knowledge base like? Going through, sometimes when we become parents, we forget that we were once children or we were once teenagers. We just assume that our children should know. Over the years that you've gone through, what knowledge have you garnered? What have you gleaned before you even get onto the parenting stuff? How have you equipped yourself? Like, you go prepare yourself for marriage, like you go get a degree, go study to become your professional. What have you learned about parenting? So knowledge is key here. If you want to actually leverage on those setbacks, you have to know that, hey, what are the things that I need? How am I going to relate it? Like you talked about my personality. Do I understand the personality of my child? How do I want to raise this child based on the unique talents and giftings? That is where knowledge is key. So proper knowledge, getting the right knowledge is essential if you want to actually leverage, use your setbacks, use all your lessons to your advantage. Point number two, how is your connection like? Have you built connection with your children? People feel that connection is when they are elder, when they are much older, when they are about having boyfriends or when they're about having girlfriends. In fact, even the definition of the word boyfriends sounds absurd in their ear. Because what does a boyfriend mean? A friend that is a boy. That's my definition in my home. So not that kind of thing. What kind of relationship have you built with them? And you must start early. I remember when I had my children, I would just sit with them while they were in their prams. I'll be talking because I grew up raising like my kids. My husband was always away most of the time. I used to talk to them. People would never knew I had babies because as I'm doing something, I will now say, oh, and Memisha or KB, stay in your pram. I want to have a bath. But while I'm bathing, sing for me or let us. And see my daughter will sit quietly, and listen. Like there was this connection. I can't explain it. It started early. So when people see the way I'm close with my children, like, hey, how do you even do it? Your children are this. I started early. The minutest things, the little things. We went to school, how they did go, like everything. So build connection. If you do not build connection at early, you cannot use it you cannot use your lessons. You will not know when to connect with them to share the lessons that you have learned in the course of life, or the lessons you want to pass on to your children. Point number three, love your kids or love your children unconditionally. Setback, in the presence of setbacks or in the absence of setbacks, love them. The setbacks doesn't make you love them less. As a matter of fact, it is how you handle those setbacks that would actually help them navigate or go through those setbacks that they are going through. So love them unconditionally. Whether they have, challenge, whether you feel that they are going to embarrass you or not, is your ability to stick with them, sticking with them through the situation that will help you reach out to them in that parenting space that you are and make a greater impact. So don't love them when things are going well, but when it looks as if those dents have come in, you now hide them, you throw them away, or they're no longer your children, you disown them, or you do all sorts of things. Love them unconditionally. Remember when I talked about expectations management? There's some people that will go through setbacks and will maybe walk through it, where there's people that maybe there may be one dent or one scar or the other, but your ability to love them unconditionally is what will help them throughout their life. 4, forgive easily. While you're loving them, you have to learn to forgive. Don't say, is that not how you did it last time? Is that not how you did this? Every time I keep telling you, but you will not listen. You feel like I'm old school. You feel that I do not know what I'm saying. Maybe you have seen it. Haven't you seen it? No. Even if someone does that to you as an adult, I can imagine how you would feel. You shrink, go back into your shell. So don't do that to your children. Don't do that. When setbacks happen, think about it, and then know how would you want to be treated. Would you love this thing to be rubbed up on your face every day, or you prefer that you are forgiven and that person guides you through? So forgiveness is key that you have to implement. It's one of the things you must do if you want to get the best out of your children. Now, point number 5, your job there is to guide them through the challenges, through the things that they're going through. How, like your perception, how willing are you to switch to a particular role per time to accommodate your children? So when do you have to be a friend to them? When do you have to be a coach to them? When do you have to be a teacher? When do you have to, how can you switch those roles? At what point? At what point do you have to like be pushy, pushy, pushy for them to snap out of their setbacks and move on? At what time do you have to sit with them and also wail with them and cry and listen to them? Your ability to guide properly will help you at this point. And then final point here is surround yourself with a community that can help you pass on whatever learnings that you have, in you to this child. Why am I saying so? You may not actually always be the best fit or the best person to pass on this information to your child. That is where your support system and your community comes in. This comes in form of your coach, maybe getting a coach, getting a mentor for them, getting families that would also reach out, or maybe people that have had similar situations that you can actually refer them to, so that they can learn and glean and understand that, hey, people around me here are here to help me. I have a support system, and it will also help them to appreciate community. Some of us, we were raised, to just do things solo, 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 solo. But if you introduce our children on time to that, it would also help them to collaborate eventually to solve problems. So these are ways that you can use setbacks using these things that I've listed to your advantage with your children.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Ofonime. I was trying to list those things, that were the parenting advantage that we have. And,
Yeah,
the few ones that really stood out for me is love. Love, love, love. We need to
yeah,
love our children just the way they are. And the
yeah.
amazing thing is, no two child or no
No
two
children.
children, no two
Yes,
children
are the
are the same.
same. Yeah,
They are different, they are unique,
yeah,
and we must always, always, remember that, and treat them as thus. Appreciate them, celebrate their strengths, even as they work on their weaknesses,
yeah,
and just love them for who they are. You
yeah,
mentioned forgiveness. When they do what we are not pleased with, let's forgive them, and not let's begin to remind them of that which they did, that went into something else that they did 10 years ago, and they did
yeah,
5 years ago, and they did 2 years ago. A lot of
yeah,
us over the years were guilty of this, but with knowledge, with understanding, we had to retrace ourselves, our steps, and
yeah,
even had to apologize to our children for the things we've done to them that had traumatized them in one way or the other. And you
yeah.
mentioned bonding, bonding. Let's go out on dates with our children. Over the
True.
couple of days, my daughter and my husband, they went on a date, and myself and our son, we also, myself and him, we went on a date on Sunday. It's so nice, just the two of you, and you're
Yeah.
actually teaching them how to treat the people in their
The
lives, and
lives. Yeah,
also how they ought to be treated. And it's both ways. The
yeah,
guy must know how to treat, the lady must know how to treat the guy. It's a two-way thing. It's not a
yeah,
a one-way road. It's dual. You treat
yeah,
yourselves well. The guy treats
yeah,
the lady well. The lady treats the guy well. So it was really
yeah,
such fun, to go on the dates with our children. Then you mentioned community. Who are the people you are surrounded with? Who
yeah.
are the people that we as parents, that we have conversations with from
Yeah,
time to time? Who are those that feed us? What are
yeah.
the things we are taking in? Because these are the things that will influence the way
Them.
we relate with our children. So
Yeah,
if you community is the community, that speak down on the children, that is, you must beat your child, you must punish your child. If you're in that community, you'll be amazed at how your children will turn
they will
out.
turn out. Yeah,
But if you are in a community that encourages you, that comes up with programs, events that bring the best out of you as a parent and even out of our children, then you're doing what is good for yourself. So,
Yeah.
yes, thank you so much for this point you have written. I think I have a question here. Let me just,
Okay.
let's read it.
Okay.
It says, so how do you handle a situation where your parents only smile or like you when things are done okay alone? Okay, so, Ofonime, can you say something to that?
All right. So, just like I said, most times our parents just do the best that they know. Is the best that they know. That's what they feel. That's how they think it is done. But at least from what I've shared here, we now know that that is not the case, and that is why that is where this community comes in. That is where this support system comes in. If your parents are only loving you when or smiling at you when things are okay, and then you have tried your best to communicate with them and it looks as if it's not working, who are the people in your circle that can hold your hand when you are down? What are the people around you that will say, you know what, I know that your parents mean a lot to you, but I hope you know that you're more than this. I know that you can pull through this. I believe in your abilities. I believe in your strength. Because sometimes if you're not careful and you also go mix up with the wrong community, you would also have people that would also make your self-esteem, would crush your self-esteem, and you will be battling you as a point. If you're not careful, you shut in from the world and then shut in from your parents as well. So you are in a disempowered state, or you are in a state that is not healthy. So one of the things I've learned in life is, I think one of the things that FSC also taught me is that it is very unfair for you to feel that your happiness and your joy comes from one person. Oh my God, this was the banger for me when I took FSC course. When I was always saying, "Oh, my husband is everything. My husband is my best friend. My husband is this. My husband is that," and honestly, the young man was trying. But now I realize. Sometimes I asked him, "How did you cope? How did you go through all of that?" And he was like, "Man, I just had to be there for you. I just had to be strong because I mean, you wanted me to be everything." So now I know better that, hey, I want my husband to be, my friend, my soulmate, my everything. But can I also get certain loads of him by creating a community for myself, having friends that, oh, okay, professional colleagues that will help me, or my intimate friends that if I'm going through parenting challenges, or so and so. So you may also need to consciously get that community for yourself to help you navigate that situation pending when they come to realization. And I know it's difficult, but you have to just understand that that is just what they know how to do best. So you can change the script or rewrite the script for yourself and for your own sanity or for your own well-being.
Yeah, Ofonime, you hit the nail on the head. When you measure the fact that nobody is in charge of your happiness,
Happiness,
that
yeah.
is just it. Nobody.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
are. You
yeah,
are. You are
yeah.
100% in
Responsible in
charge,
charge, yeah,
responsible for your
yeah,
happiness.
yeah,
And that's why I would say to this person, get affirmations.
mm,
Speak to yourself.
yeah,
I am beautiful. I am
mm,
confident. I am
yeah,
amazing. I can do
yeah,
all things. I am great.
mm.
I am one of a
True,
kind.
true,
There are no two of me. I'm
mm,
fearfully made.
yeah,
Just tell yourself, remind yourself who you are.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
perfectly imperfect.
yeah, yeah,
Because that's the
yeah,
truth.
yeah, yeah,
And I enjoy myself with my flaws. And I'm
yeah,
so grateful the way what who I'm becoming.
yeah.
I am
Well,
phenomenal. I am amazing. I'm
yeah,
great. You just go on and on. Look at yourself in the mirror and do a bit of shakara. You know, a bit of
yeah,
shakara. And
yeah,
just, turn
yeah,
around. If you have a full mirror, I have a full mirror in my house just to appreciate myself from top to bottom. Do the same.
yeah,
Do the same. Do the same. Do the same. And as you do that, you trust that your parents will come to understand, much more, and
Yeah.
support you on your journey of
Yeah.
becoming you. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for phoning me. Any last words? Any last words?
Thank you to Ayo or Queen Ayo. Well, what I want to say is that you may have things may have happened to you. You may have sulked all this while, sulked all these years because you did not know how to manage your expectation. Maybe your perception towards those things were not okay, or maybe we did not have the right skill set. But I want you to know that you can start now, and you can start now to make a positive change. You can start now to change the narrative as a person, as an individual. You can, just like sister, like Queen Ayo was saying, you can start now to look at yourself, have a clearer picture, appreciate yourself, look at those unique things. See, take a good look. If you are on this call, go and make a list of everything, every challenging situation that you have gone through, and how when you overcame it, how you felt. Write it, everything, the things you have gone through, what you went through, and how you felt when you overcame it. Take an inventory, and you'll most likely see that those things that happen to you, people that have those similar situations will be gravitating towards you because you hold a
Yeah,
solution to those situations.
absolutely.
So just look at
Absolutely.
it. Like, I have learned that. So that's why I said when things happen to you, I'm like, what am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to learn? Recently, there is what loss has been hitting me. I lost someone in 2020, and I've just lost someone this year. And I realized that I had never had experience when it comes to losing a loved one. The first time it happened, I was curious, I was curious all through the process. And my husband at the end said, Emmy, like, how did you go through that? You handled it so well, because I was looking at it from what am I going to learn? So now that I've experienced something similar that's supposed to drown me, I am taking, I don't know, what I learned is now helping me. People feel, oh, why are you still doing it? How are you going through it? So what has helped me is that when things happen, what is in it for me to learn? What am I going to go through? So that when people come to me, I can help them with that solution. So please go and take an inventory. Those tough situations, look at them and know that people will begin to gravitate towards you because of the solutions that you have. And then the final one for parents now, if you're a parent on this call, or you are a caregiver, you are a guardian, whoever you are, know that parenting is beyond childbirth. You don't have to just biologically produce children from your loins before you can nurture and raise them. What are the teenagers in your corner, the students that are called to you, who are there? How can you help them become better? That's your assignment. Help them to maximize their full potential. But know that you cannot do this with just native intelligence. You need help. You need programs, you need products, you need programs that will help you equip yourself with the right knowledge skill. When you do that, you realize that you will not make those mistakes that people are making. You would be better informed and you would do better. Remember, when you know better, you do better, you act better. So those are my closing words, Queen Ayo. You're muted.
I
Okay, I
said,
can
thank
hear
you
you.
so much, Queen of Fonime. I've crowned you today.
Thank you.
Everyone
Thank
that
you.
comes
I'm
to my
wearing my
table
crown with
is
pride.
crowned.
Thank you.
So, yes, if you'd like to get a copy of her book, her phone number is on the screen. You can just reach out to her. Just take a snapshot of this and just reach out to her. She'll let you know what else you need to do to get a copy of your book. And also, um, my own book, Living, Loving, and Laughing, The Balanced Me, will be launched in a few days. I'm so excited. It will be launched on the 2nd of December, my wedding anniversary, our wedding anniversary.
Wow.
And we are so excited. We are looking forward to it because we see it as a book
Congratulations.
that will, transform a lot of people, that will bring healing, that will bring bliss into so
Yeah.
many people's lives. It's actually my memoir, it's the story of my life, you know, and I'm just so excited to have been chosen by God to do this assignment.
Yeah.
It's humbling for me. It's humbling. It's really, really humbling. So you can pre-order ahead of time so that by the time we're launching, you are having, your book right in your hands. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for being
Thank
on the
you.
show again today. We really appreciate your time and we trust that you'll be able to glean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things from our show today. And I'd like to say, Ofonime, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know what it took
Thank
us
you.
to get this done today. And I'm
Thank
glad we
you.
did because it's coming at the right time. It's really, really coming at the right time. God bless you so much. God
Bless you too. It's been my
see you on the
pleasure.
other side and cause you
Thank
to
you.
continue to experience his favor and mercy.
Amen.
Thank you so much
Amen.
once again for coming
Thank you.
and do have a blessed afternoon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, our audience. Bye.
Bye.